be here today and see so many people here in person for this really important, as Anthony said, almost first of its kind event in the Parliament. And I want to start off by thanking Anthony for sponsoring this event today and also for his brilliant work more broadly as a champion for this space. So, as Anthony mentioned, my name is Elena Walden. I'm a policy manager at the Good Food Institute Europe, and we're thrilled to be co-hosting today's event together with Ivy Farm. For those of you who don't know who we are, and Anthony just gave you a teaser, GFI Europe is an international NGO focused on building a more sustainable food system by transforming meat production. As an NGO, our role is really to bring everyone around the table, scientists and academics, policymakers and businesses, to accelerate a shift towards sustainable proteins like cultivated meat, for all of the reasons that Anthony has just set out so well now. The science is really very clear on this. It's impossible to meet our climate targets without reducing animal agriculture, including in the UK. And the question is, how are we going to do that? Are we going to tell people to change their diets, or are we going to change how we make meat? At GFI, we're focused on the second of these paths. We strongly believe we need to make sustainable choices easy for people, and that involves giving people options that mean they don't have to sacrifice on flavour or pay a green premium. And for us, this is where the potential of cultivated meat comes in. So cultivated meat is exactly the same as the meat we eat today, but grown directly from cells instead of farming animals. And this new method of making meat can enable people to keep eating the familiar foods they love, like the Great British Banger that you can see Ivy Farms are producing now, but they can keep eating those foods with a fraction of the environmental impact. And at the same time, because cultivated meat is so much less resource intensive, it can free up land to allow for more sustainable farming practices and other measures to increase food security, which, as Anthony mentioned, is such an important concern right now. So companies like Ivy Farm are doing some absolutely fantastic work to develop cultivated meats, but given the enormous societal benefits we're talking about here today, governments can't leave advancing cultivated meat science only to the private sector. Governments should be investing in open access science to address the R&D needs for this space in exactly the same way as they have been doing for renewable energy. Open access science means that research results are available for everyone, and researchers can engage in coordinated efforts to accelerate progress. And this, in turn, can help governments meet their climate targets on time. And as Anthony alluded to, the UK, with its world-beating scientific expertise, should be leading these efforts, not watching from the sidelines. And around the world, policymakers are starting to sit up and take notice of cultivated meat's potential, both because of the wider societal benefits that Anthony and I have just touched on, but also because it's quite simply a huge economic opportunity. McKinsey & Co. have, for example, forecasted that the cultivated meat sector globally will be worth $20 billion by 2030. And as Anthony said, there are a lot of companies around the world working on this. On our last count, it was 107 companies globally that are working on this. But as a result of this massive economic opportunity, policymakers are now taking steps to ensure that their domestic markets are well placed to seize a share of this future growth. So just a few weeks ago, the Netherlands announced a €60 million investment to build the Dutch cultivated meat ecosystem, and that's just the first tranche of potentially €320 million in total over the next few years. Likewise, Israel has a national strategy in place to develop their alternative protein ecosystem, and the US has just now launched a flagship research centre on cultivated meat. So as Anthony said, GFI works across multiple regions, 6 regions globally, and from this bird's eye view, it's clear to us that amongst all these countries, the UK is uniquely well positioned to be a leader in this space. We have the consumer appetite already for sustainable proteins. Brits eat the second most plant-based meat in Europe, and a recent peer-reviewed study found 80% of Brits would be open to at least trying cultivated meat. And as already mentioned, we have the world-beating scientific expertise. Britain is a hub of academic excellence in fields that are highly relevant to the development of cultivated meat, such as regenerative medicine. However, we've seen a real lack of policy attention in the UK compared to those contexts that I just mentioned, particularly when it comes to R&D investment. And as a result, the UK is now at real risk of falling behind. So at GFI, we've identified 3 easily surmountable barriers that are currently preventing the UK from realising its potential: a lack of earmarked funding, a lack of coordination in existing research, and a lack of investment to support closer market innovation. So we've left around the room today some of our suggestions for how the UK, with a small amount of policy attention, could overcome these barriers, seize the sustainable protein opportunity, and establish itself as a world leader in the future of food. So thank you very much for your attention, and it's my pleasure to hand over to Peter Quigley, Deputy Director of Food Policy at the FSA.